Here's a confession on Throwback Thursday. When you work a small station in St. John, New Brunswick, as I did, CHSJ, you don't have a news service to provide clips of the news from all around the world. You simply have a teletype machine and you write up the news and read it on the air. Well, my trick was to call someplace where the news was happening and convince a local reporter to give me a voicer. And I even got heck for running up a long-distance phone bill, but at least it made my newscast sound a little better. On this occasion, it is the boat people, the collapse of Vietnam and Cambodia, and I got a clip here from George Buchanan and Mike Allan. I'm not even sure those people actually exist because sometimes they'd want to change their name for the voicer they were doing for CHSJ because they didn't really work for CHSJ. At any rate, Throwback Thursday, Cambodia, Vietnam, and a sneaky way to get a different voice into the newscast.
4 degrees at 6, this is Allan Bonner. The Sunday News is for D&J Motors. A new life and hope for children too young to know. We have a report from Ottawa.
A CP Air flight from Hong Kong has arrived in Vancouver. Nothing strange about that. It happens every day. But today it was different. Aboard the orange-colored bird, 62 war orphans from Vietnam and Cambodia. 10 are survivors of the air crash that killed 200 last week in Saigon. Most of them are going to homes in Canada. Immigration Minister Robert Andras is pleased about the response of the Canadian people to adopting the youngsters.
We have so many people who've made offers now that it may be more than necessary for the foreseeable future, and I think that's generally the case across Canada. This is not to say that isn't a very noble and worthy thing for them to have done, but I do believe now that we have indications across the country for far more Canadian families to adopt children than we will have children to adopt.
All but 6 of the children landed today are under 2 years of age. Andras says attempts will be made to get more orphans out of Vietnam if the two government cooperates. George Buchanan, CHSJ News.
From Vancouver, this report.
62 Vietnamese children and at least 20 Canadians landed at Vancouver International shortly after 11 o'clock, only to be swept into customs and immigration before I could see them. Mrs. Betty Hansen of Victoria and her family, including 4 other adopted children, were on hand to get their family's latest edition.
Never thought it would come true, really. It's been a long, long last 3 or 4 days. It really has.
How long have you been waiting?
Well, about a year. About a year. We applied last year at this time.
Can you tell us a little bit about the child?
Well, still a boy, and he was born on June the 30th, and they let us know that there was the boy for us in August, and we got our visa through for traveling about 3 weeks ago, which worked really nice, made it a little easier to get him over here with all this rush that we had right now. So he's 9 months old, and we're dying to see him.
The infants, all under 2 years of age, were all given milk and diaper changes in a converted waiting room. 7 will be placed here in B.C. The others have waiting homes in the northeastern United States and eastern Canada. This is Mike Allan at Vancouver International Airport.
An Ontario team has left for Hong Kong to help transfer Vietnamese orphans to Ontario, and an urgent study of ways to prevent the collapse of the South Vietnam country is underway as Gerald Ford wraps up his working holiday in Palm Springs. Rebels press 2 square miles closer to Phnom Penh. Government troops of Cambodia abandoned a nearby highway under shelling. Refugees flee north. Phnom Penh's vital airport took 50 rounds of rocket and artillery fire today. 7 civilians, including children, were killed, but the American airlift of food, fuel, ammunition, and a hope for life continues. Insurgents move artillery closer, and a big ammunition dump 15 miles from Phnom Penh is in jeopardy. Saigon sources say U.S. Marines are prepared to land in Saigon to evacuate Americans and South Vietnamese if major fighting or chaos breaks out. The U.S. continues building up the 7th Fleet off the coast. 3 other aircraft carriers are nearby. Others say there's 2 more destroyers, a carrier, and supply ships off the coast, and they say Ford has ordered every available ship to Indochina waters, and more are on the way. In Bathurst, a state of emergency. 32 inches of snow remains on streets because of a strike of work crews. There's an emergency road open to the hospital. Bathurst Mayor John Duffy wanted EMO to help, but EMO said they couldn't because there were the facilities to remedy the situation at hand, and the cause was a strike. RCMP in Bathurst say no serious accidents or crime resulted. There will be school tomorrow in District 20. Teachers canceled the meeting they had planned after a tentative settlement was reached with the Provincial Treasury Board. The weather. Overcast, occasional drizzle, flurries today and tomorrow, brisk northerlies, below seasonable temperatures both days, lows tonight -1 to +1, right now 4 degrees at CHSJ.